So we are continuing with Sutta Maharishi's discourse. So he described the fruit of studying Bhagavatam daily and how it removes the modes of passion and ignorance, rajas and tamas, and establishes the mind in sattva or purity. Then he says, in this way, when one is free of worldly attachments through loving devotion to the Lord, the mind is filled with delight and one realizes the truth relating to God as a matter of course. He says, Evam prasanna manaso bhagavad bhakti yogataha bhagavat tattva vijnanam mukta sangasya jayate. All these verses are very beautiful. So first he says, Evam prasanna manaso. So when the mind is thus situated in a very pleasing disposition. So the pleasing disposition of the mind comes about when there is no anxiety, when there is no worry, fear, all the rest. So normally the mind is disturbed because of the modes of passion and ignorance. Ignorance causes laziness or dullness or a sense of pessimism and negativity of all kinds. And passion, on the other hand, causes greed and excitement and anxiety and all the rest. So both of these modes make the mind very disturbed in different ways. So that is why we see how the one who is completely caught in ignorance is very dull and they get depressed, and sometimes that depression even leads to violence on self or others and so on. Passion, on the other hand, leads to a different kind of disturbance where there is a lot of chaos that comes out of that. When both of these are not there, when there is a calm, clear mind, then that mind is called prasanna manasa. Prasanna manasa means that prasanna manas is the mind which is very pleasingly disposed, and that is the greatest benediction when the mind is not disturbed and one is able to remain calm with equanimity. And that comes about, as already mentioned, through studying Bhagavatam, through listening to these teachings, through contemplating on them, and thereby through removing the seed of attachments. And that is why he says Mukta Sangasya Jayate. Mukta Sangha means the freedom from attachment. Sangha is here attachment. So when there is freedom from attachment, then through Bhagavad Bhakti Yogataha, so through the devotional connection with the Supreme Truth, through the recognition of the Supreme Being as our very self, Bhagavat Tattva Vijnanam Jayate. So the true essence of the Supreme Being, Tattva means the essence, Tattva Vijnanam, the essence of the truth is realized through this. So that's the process, the mind being pleasingly disposed and thereby being free of worldly attachment and situated in loving devotion results in the flowering of true wisdom. So wisdom is therefore not intellectual understanding or studying for the sake of gaining knowledge, but it is studying with the intent of removing the false ideas, listening and inquiring, and thereby negating the false, and thereby being free of all the negative tendencies. So in the next verse, that is made more clear by saying, the moment one sees God as his very self, the knot of ignorance is broken, all doubts are cleared, and the entire stock of karma gets destroyed. He says, Bhidyate hridaya grantishchidyante sarva samshayaha kshiyante cha asya karmani drishta eva atmani ishware. So one who sees the Atman as Ishvara, the moment the one who sees in his very self the presence of Bhagavan Ishvara, in other words, one recognizes that one's very essence is non-different from the essence of the whole universe, and therefore there is no such thing as a separate individual self. All there is only the Supreme Bhagavan being, who alone manifests as all the various forms and who is the self of all. When one sees that clearly, then Bhidyate Hridaya Granthi, that is, the knot of ignorance in the heart is removed. The knot of ignorance in the heart is the identification as me and mine, the I thought that rises and imagines itself to be the central authority of this being. The false connection made between various thoughts and feelings and bodily sensations, and imagining there to be a separate individual self, that is the knot in the heart. And when that's removed, chidyante sarva samshayaha, all the doubts, samshaya means doubts, all the doubts are all removed. So all the doubts that come about are coming about only through this false idea. All questions, all doubts are coming only from the false questioner, the false doubter. So when the doubter goes away, the doubts go away. Doubts don't get resolved through answers to the doubts, but through the very doubter being seen as false. Questions go away when the questioner is seen as false. So all the doubts are removed because of the knot of ignorance of the false ego being removed. Kriyante cha asya karmani, and thereby all the identification with karmas go away. So karma is again the sense of doership that causes karma, that identifies that these are my karmas I have done, and that identification results in this idea of cause and effect, and thereby one goes here and there and only builds more and more karma with that identification. But when the false identification goes away, then all actions are seen as actions of God alone. There is no individual doer thereof. There is only the one divine will that makes all actions possible. And when that is clear, then there is no karma, because all karmas are surrendered back unto the only Karta, which is the supreme doer. All this happens when drashta eva atmani ishvare. when one sees the Supreme Being as one's own self. So this is the essence of the way of realizing the truth and the effect of realizing it. So when we see the truth as the Supreme Self situated in our hearts, and therefore when we do not imagine ourselves to be a separate individual, when we are alert and thereby recognize that actions happen on their own and we are not the doer or the thinker, there is just the energy that makes everything possible, then in that recognition, there is no separate self, there is no separate entity center, there is only the energy that makes everything happen. And when that is clearly seen, there is freedom from the false ego and all its goals and all its feelings of bondage and all the rest, and there is thereby the direct realization of freedom here and now.